Keep watching The Politics every Friday, 12 p.m. Eastern Time on New York Parrot TV, the voice for humanity.
I apologize for coming on a few minutes late because of technical difficulties, but apparently some people don't want us to come on. I am Robert Press, official reporter from the city of New York. I have my press card here. And before I go into the politics of the day, people are asking me why I wear this tie with horses on it. Because politics is basically a horse race. Every time you have an election, people are vying and they're going neck and neck, or one person's way out in front, one person's way behind, and it's a horse race. And we're coming into election time now because this is the last Friday of the month, and on February 28th, petition time starts for the city council and for the Bronx district attorney. Once every 4 years, the Bronx district attorney has to run, and this is the only time that the Bronx district attorney can be political. So let's get on to the news of the day or the week. President Biden visited the Ukraine. He snuck in, saw President Zelensky, and then he held a press conference in the safe area in Poland. Okay, he said that it was nice to see President Zelensky, that it's the 1-year anniversary of the Russian-Ukraine war, and it's a brutal and unjust on the people of the Ukraine while Russia is poised. And what was said that Russia's response to this was that they are ready to start a new barrage on the Ukraine. Meanwhile, it's approximately 8,000 people have died and 13,000 people have been injured. Pardon me. On to the George Santos saga. Well, he just won't go away. And in his first act as a congressperson, he wants the AR-15 assault rifle to be the official gun of the country. And that has, he's backed a bill to do just that. Governor Hochul here in New York has said it is outrageous and appalling that Congressman Santos wants to attach his name to legislation that would designate the AR-15 as a national rifle of the United States. Meanwhile, the governor's security detail is being investigated by the state police for the exact amount of time that they have put in for, or actual time, because it appears that they're being investigated for putting in extra time when they may not have worked it, and that's illegal. Much to the dismay of the New York Assembly members who get nice big donations in their campaigns from the City Teachers Union, Governor Hochul wants to allow 85 more charter schools in New York City. Well, that would mean that the declining public school enrollment, that schools would need less teachers. And the UFT, Union of Failed Teachers, as people have said in the past, and especially here in the Bronx, where the performance level in 2019, before the pandemic, was 67% for children in Bronx public schools, while the other 4 boroughs, the performance level was over 80% and as high as 84% in one borough. So I wonder what our performance level of the students in the Bronx are now after 2 years of a pandemic. We must be at about 50%, while the other boroughs are still close to 80. Now, State Senator James Scofilis, a Democrat from Hudson Valley, wants to rename the Mario Cuomo Bridge because he and everybody he says still calls it the Tappan Zee Bridge. Now, if this legislation was to be passed by the state legislature, Governor Hochul has said that she will sign it, okay, because she doesn't like the name Mario Cuomo either on the bridge. So let's see what they're going to come up with the bridge. Will it be named the Buffalo Bills Bridge? Will it be named back to the Tappan Zee Bridge, or whatever? Now, here in the city, the online newspaper, The City, reported surplus COVID-19 items valued at over $200 million were auctioned off for just $500,000. Then $12 million of former Mayor de Blasio's ventilators was sold for scrap metal at $25,000. It appears that a junk dealer from Long Island took 500,000 pounds in 28 truckloads of merchandise to his junkyard. And no, if you remember the old show Sanford and Son, it wasn't Red Fox, because the beloved Red Fox who starred in that show is no longer with us. But Mayor Adams says that the article is wrong, and he has asked the DCAS, the New York City Department of Citywide Administration Services, to rebut what the city has said. Here is their rebuttal, and I will read it. Recent reporting on COVID supply auctions include significant inaccuracies, lack context. Auctions featured non-medical grade items purchased for 80% less than reported. The New York City Department of Citywide Services, DCAS, today issued the following statement on the inaccuracy reporting by the news outlet The City on the City of New York's auction surplus non-medical grade supplies originally purchased for COVID-19 response efforts. Recent reporting indicates that $224.5 million worth of COVID supplies were auctioned off by the city for pennies on the dollar. After a thorough review, we determined these numbers were an inaccuracy calculated by a reporter who refused to wait for a proper calculation by DCAS. After the analysis was completed, we took this information to the reporter, who refused to make changes to his story. In reality, items were sold at auction were non-medical grade, and many items up for auction were nearing expiration dates. To be clear, the distorted reporting did a disservice to the facts and dedicated public servants who succeeded in obtaining emergency medical supplies amidst a once-in-a-century pandemic. That is from New York City DCAS Executive Director Nick Benson. It goes further that the facts of the items sold at auction were originally purchased for $42,421,625, just 18.9% of the $224+ million figure the reported inaccuracy claimed. The items sold at auction were non-medical grade, when medical grade supplies were difficult to come by amidst collapsing supply chains in early 2020. Some non-medical grade supplies were purchased as a stopgap measure and held in reserves as the supply chain issue resolved. New York City Department of Mental Health and Hygiene, New York City hospitals, and others advised that these non-medical grade supplies were no longer needed and were nearing their expiration date, that some of the items up for auction were the only alternative to donating or auctioning the items were to destroy them. Over 17 million items were previously donated to Ukraine, Indonesia, Uganda, Haiti, South Africa, and more than 24 local community-based organizations, nonprofits, to support others in need and avoid waste. Some of the items that haven't been donated have been placed for auction to recover as much revenue as possible to the taxpayers. Because the global COVID supply market is flooded and excess supplies are being sold by governments all over the world, sale prices are a fraction of what governments had to pay at the beginning of the pandemic amidst extremely limited supplies and failed leadership at the federal level. Let's see now. Joe Biden was elected in 2020. That's when he began term. Well, okay. If the city opted not to donate or auction non-expiring items, it would have to pay to warehouse non-medical grade items that medical professionals advised are no longer needed. Now, these were being held in a New Jersey warehouse, not in New York City. And DCAS goes on to say that the New York City Department of Citywide Administration Services makes city government work for all New Yorkers. Our commitment is to equally, effectively, and sustainably guide our work, providing city agencies with the resources and supports they need. They go into details as recruiting, hiring, and training city employees, managing 55 public buildings, acquiring, selling, and leasing city property, purchasing over $1 billion in goods for city services for city agencies, overseeing the greenest municipal vehicle fleet in the country, leading the city efforts to reduce carbon emissions from government operations, and that's it. Now, I have a question when they say managing 55 public buildings. There are about almost 2,000 schools. I know that some of the schools are in leased buildings, but a majority of those 2,000 schools, at least 1,500, are in public buildings. So I can't see how DCAS says they only manage 55 public buildings, unless they're saying, well, that's the Department of Education, not us. Okay, let's go through some local Bronx news. Bronx Fashion Week 2023 was a huge success last week at the mall in Bay Plaza. You can see many pictures of the event on my blog at www.100percentbronx.blogspot.com. That's 100percentbronx.blogspot.com. You're going to have to scroll down on the left side in the index to Bronx Fashion Week 2023 so you can see all the pictures. After 7 years as executive director of the 3rd Avenue Business Improvement District, Michael Brady has announced that he will be leaving that post as of March 15th. There is a search committee by the BID to find a replacement for Mr. Brady. You can go to their website if you're looking for that. And good luck to you, Mr. Brady. Tomorrow, by the way, is the 29th annual Bronx Park Speak Up. This is being held at Lehman College in the faculty dining room. First, you go and see some exhibitors who have showed their exhibits of the Bronx, what they're doing. The transportation alternatives will be there, I understand, according to my friend, Mr. Kevin Diola, who will have an exhibit on how to use bicycles rather than using cars. And there will be other exhibits from, say, Hudson River Alliance and many others. The event starts at 11 a.m. and runs through 5 p.m., and lunch will be served. Now, finally, before we go to commercial, the State of the Borough speech by Bronx Borough President Vanessa Gibson will be given on Wednesday, March 1st at 6 p.m. Doors open at 5 p.m. It will be in the Manhattan College Raymond Kelly Student Center, the 5th floor. You had to you had to respond online, though. It will be broadcast live on BronxNet TV because there probably be more people who want to be there. So you can check on Optimum Channel 67, Fios Channel 2173. And we are at our commercial break. Thank you.
Undoubtedly, Africa is the best tourism destination on Earth. The continent is blessed with the most conducive atmosphere. To feel and enjoy these blessings, join the most productive one-week tour of the continent organized by Daylight Africa every September 2nd to September 9th to see beyond the fallacies about Africa on the mainstream media. Contact us at daylightafrica@gmail.com or call 718-822-5555. Daylight Africa. Revolutionizing tourism industries in Africa.
Welcome back. Before I get to my guest, Ms. Renata Raffi, Andy King is going after his old seat in the 12th Council District that he was taken out of in the end of his 3rd year and in his 2nd term. Some people are saying that he served 2 4-year terms because he actually started a little before because he replaced Larry, what was his name? I forgot his name already, the person who was taken out and put in jail, Larry Seabrook. Okay. So what people are saying, especially the elected officials who have supported the Kevin Riley, the new councilman, that Andy King served his 8 years in the council and should be taken out and can't run. He has to wait another 2 years, so he'll be 4 years out. But if we go by that, then Mr. Kevin Riley, who is the current councilman in the 12th Council District, would have to end his term in December of his 3rd year when he was elected. So that would end 8 years for Mr. Kevin Riley. So I don't know how they can say that Andy King served 2 full years when he didn't. He served the rest of Larry Seabrook's term. Then he had 1 4-year term and 3 years, not even 3 years, of his 2nd term. So Andy King did not serve 2 full years in the council. And Mr. Producer, can you bring on my guest? Good afternoon, Ms. Raffi. How are you?
I'm good, Bob. How are you today?
Okay, I understand that. Well, let me just verify, just disclose that Ms. Raffi and I were in an organization called 1900. Seminole shut it down, but I understand. Well, there have been things that have happened in the organization. It's gone through a reorganization, and would you please tell us what happened?
Yes, hi Bob. So 1900, the group has been closed, but I do understand that there's a Facebook still out against it. But we have a few members have left, and we have started a new group called Concerned Citizens of the East Bronx, also known as CREB. Our webpage will definitely be up slowly about it. Our main focus is going to be on 1900, but we have also decided to broaden the group to include the MTA project that's happening and the new upzoning that's going to happen. So we are planning to fight both these causes that are coming. And again, I want to say I'm not fully against upzoning around here. I'm against it that we don't have any control of the narrative.
Right, and well, it's not 1900 Seminole anymore. I believe
Correct.
Jacoby Hospital has said we're not going to use that address. We're going to call it 1400 Pelham Parkway, which is their address in the front.
Right.
Now, I reached out to Congresswoman Ocasio-Cortez, and her staffer was supposed to get back to me with a meeting, and we had set up. I had asked a group who would be interested in attending this meeting, and the response that I got, though, back from the Congresswoman's staffer was that the Congresswoman is still in support of the Just Home project at Jacoby Hospital. I know that I sent her back an email that how could the Congresswoman support such a project, knowing that her voters are against it and the people in her district would be voting against it. You're one of her constituents. What is your opinion of the Congresswoman still supporting Just Home?
I find it absolutely outrageous considering that her constituents do not want this project. We have voiced plenty of times and staged many protests through last year about saying our concerns about it. Our main concern is that we do not know who's going to be moving in there and what type of people. That is still all up in the air. Are these people child sex offenders? And if it is, there are plenty of schools and young families that are around there that are raising children. So all these are major concerns for us. And for AOC to say that she's for it definitely doesn't represent her constituents.
Now, basically what you have in Rikers Island are gang members, and we see these gang members are now attacking each other inside the jail. The jail, as we were told by Health and Hospitals Corporation, has 84% of pretrial detainees. And these are not minor criminals because the minor criminals are still out in the street. Even some major criminals are out there with the new cash bail law as long as you didn't use a gun. So what we have in jail in Rikers right now are people who are gang members, people who have committed serious crimes, and these are the people that they're going to put into Just Home. Also, the other 14% are people who have been convicted of crimes and are awaiting to go upstate to prisons. So any further opinion?
Yeah, so the only other thing is that there's not going to be a security guard, or they're not going to be mandated to stay inside. They're going to have free reign, and only a security camera is going to be watching them. What kind of protection is that offering for us if these people are as violent as they say they are?
Plus, they can have free visitors. They won't be checked. So if we have a gang member, we could wind up with rival gang members in there and have their friends come in and start killing each other. All right. But now Councilwoman Marjorie Velazquez has said she wants to put a woman's type of thing in the building too that we're talking about.
Correct.
Has Councilwoman Velazquez come to the organization to discuss it with you? All right.
She's definitely trying to talk about it, but I'm not really sure how she feels right now. And I think those are still in the works. So let's see how it goes. If Marjorie will come out publicly and say that she's against the project and she has alternatives, I think that would be great.
Would you like to have a meeting with the councilwoman on this?
Yes, I would definitely like to be involved in the process again about how is it going to shape out, because I think a lot of people are forgetting that it's the people that live here that make the decisions, not these politicians that are just coming in and starting to ram things down our throats, such as as Marjorie Velasquez, trying, potentially the Just for Homes project, the Bruckner upzoning, all of that is not what her constituents want, not the people who voted for her. We didn't vote for this. And I don't understand why they aren't listening to us anymore.
Well, last night, Community Board 11 held a meeting, a full board meeting, and they voted on something which was called the Boston Road Project, a fine fare supermarket that is being turned into a 333-unit building of 10 stories, where the supermarket will be put back underneath. There'll be parking and supposedly low-income housing there, or affordable housing, I should say, which some community members in the area have said it's not going to be affordable to the community. I know you were watching that meeting. I was at the meeting, and it's funny because the community board had its time in October and November to make their comments. Here we're at the end of February, so the borough president has already approved the project. It's in front of the city planning commission, and it goes to the city council next for final approval. Do you have any confidence that the community board can do anything?
I mean, my confidence level in the community board is not really the greatest, but last night there was some glimmer of hope that maybe the community board will get their act together, and it seemed like last night was a pretty good meeting. But what I didn't like was the exchange between Kenneth Glitnick and Malcolm Gray. Malcolm Gray brought up a lot of good points about how this building is going to affect the brown and black communities surrounding.
Okay, we're going to have a there you go.
Hello?
Yeah, go ahead. We're here. I just can't, you got it. Okay, now you're a little higher. Okay, we lost her for a second. What Ms. Raffi was talking about is that the exchange between Ken Gelnick, the chair of the Land Use Committee, and Malcolm Gray, one of the newer members on the board, and another newer member also, basically they presented an argument that there needs to be something in this letter that the board is going to say about the minority homeowners who are going to be losing. And we have you back. Okay, you want to finish?
Yes, I do apologize for that. I was saying about how Malcolm Gray was talking about how it's going to affect the brown and black community members around there and how their home values are going to go down. Everybody that comes to America, and he really touched upon the American dream. Everyone comes to America, or everyone starts in America with some form of a dream. The ultimate dream is to own a little home and enjoy a piece of life. And I'm sure that these people are not going to be happy to have this huge building up next to them and having all sorts of people incoming and outgoing. And if it's going to be very low income housing, who knows what type of people would be there. But the main concern is that people come there for peace and quiet. Allerton is still, even though it's busy on the main strip, there are still plenty of pockets in there that are beautiful, and people want to keep it quiet.
Yeah, well, also basically around the corner on Allerton Avenue, there's an old supermarket that has been torn down, and that's going to be about another 180 units of apartments, and that should be in the same class. But since that was as of right, Kevin is really going with his comment about fear mongering. I'm just going to ignore Kevin's approach or his comment, and let's continue with our discussion. As I was saying, so now we're getting over 500 units of new housing, which is supposedly affordable, but I don't know why our producer put this comment up. But
oh my goodness, this is terrible.
Yes. Let me just, I don't know who he was talking about there, but he was sitting next to somebody, so I don't know if that's who he was talking about or not. But let's continue with our discussion about the neighborhood, because we're going to see more new buildings coming around the Jacoby Hospital area when the Metro North station comes in. Or I should say Montefiore, because Montefiore already owns the Stop and Shop shopping center, where there's a few stores over there. And Montefiore owns some other properties where this new station's coming in. And we know that Montefiore, which owns Einstein, they call it Einstein, but it's Montefiore now. They're planning on building new dormitories for their staff and students. and the community needs to be a part of that. Am I correct?
Yes, the community definitely needs to be a part of it. Again, there are some parts of the Bronx that you could still build and put up buildings that would be nice, that would also bring good things to this community. But to just build them up with no say in from the community, what is going to go there? Because you could either have some nice stores down there, such as Trader Joe's and the Gap around those stores over there, as opposed to having the Dollar Tree, and at 11 o'clock, the liquor stores and the cannabis stores that are just popping up all over the place, coming there. And then when you go there at 11 o'clock at night, you don't want to be there. But if that place is housed by like a Trader Joe and other types of better stores that attract different quality, you'll feel safer to go there.
Well, again, that's the other side of Eastchester Road, right near Waters Place. And
Right.
at Waters Place, there is a treatment center where the people just come out and hang out in these shopping centers.
And there are drugs being sold on Waters Place. This is another thing that I have brought to the attention of the 49th Precinct, and I've called 911 multiple times on this. There's a little drug den, and that guy is selling drugs there all day, every single day. And then you see them roaming around the place like zombies. I cannot even shop at Stop and Shop anymore, because every time you go there, the quality of people that come and harass you, not only me, but everybody else who goes in there, is unbelievable.
The Stop and Shop should have security. We'll see what happens when Montefiore puts their buildings there, how it works, and how they secure the area. But from what I understand, Jacoby Hospital is having problems with their staff, and they've given their staff a certain item that in case they get a problem. Would you elaborate on that?
Yes, so the hospital has provided them whistles almost. So in case if something is happening, it's going to make off a noise. I don't know if you live in the Bronx, but most of us do. I hear a noise, I'm not looking. The only way I'm going to start to look is if I hear somebody screaming or making a lot of noise. If somebody blows off a whistle, I'm going to think it's my neighbor or something like that. And a lot of this has been in response to the recent carjackings that have happened to the nurses, and a nurse that was robbed in front of Starbucks at 9 o'clock at night. And this has been not really reported anywhere, but there's plenty of people who would testify that she was robbed there at like 9 o'clock at night, just coming out of Starbucks.
Well, that must be part of the unreported crime. When I asked former Police Commissioner Shea how much crime goes unreported, he said much crime goes unreported, but he couldn't gauge how much. And then Mayor de Blasio turned to him and said, "Why did you say that? I don't want people to know that crime goes unreported." And we're at about the end of our show. So I want to thank you for coming on.
Thank you, Bob.
And I hope to have you on once again in the future.
Thank you.
And let me thank our viewers for watching the show. And we're going to end the show right now and bring on another commercial.
Bye, everyone. Thank you, Bob, for having me.
Do you wish your business makes it to the top list of the most searched for business in the US and around the world? Or are you searching for halal compliant services and products online? Then Halal Finder is your online resource directory, pointing you to the right places and products. Let's help you explore halal products and services of your choice as we manage many halal businesses across the world. Promote your business with halalfinder.com, the only plug you need to grow. Our services include business listing, digital marketing, branding strategy, SEO campaigns, crowdfunding, and humanitarian support. On our Compassion Corner, we offer crowdfunding of halal ventures and humanitarian services. In this section, you can make or receive donations, start donation campaign, and check existing donation campaigns. And by paying zakat and sadaqah to our Compassion platform on halalfinder.com, you have supported the poor, widows or widowers, orphans, and the likes around the world. Contact us at info@halalfinder.com or call +1 718 822 5555. Get started today at halalfinder.com.
Undoubtedly, Africa is the best tourism destination on Earth. The continent is blessed with the most conducive atmosphere. To feel and enjoy these blessings, join the most productive one-week tour of the continent organized by Daylight Africa every September 2nd to September 9th to see beyond the fallacies about Africa on the mainstream media. Contact us at daylightafrica@gmail.com or call 718-822-5555.